We can live in the streets together. Oh, hello, chapter 3, the Revelation. Well, the Revelation never sounds too promising, but I assume we're not that far into the game, because, I mean, if you're going to go by chapters, you've at least got to stop on 5, not 3. The hours of night are spent sleeping fitfully among the sticks and stones. Years have passed since I last had attempted to camp under the open stars. I am not accustomed to it. Every noise startles me to alertness. The hum of insects, the croak of frogs, the restless slumber of my companions. The too early cries of birds. Each time I must be still at heart and slip back into the darkness. I do need my sleep. When the sky begins to lighten, we arise. Oscar's scavenging turns up birds' eggs and wild asparagus. Foods that can be cooked quickly, even without utensils. How do you cook something without anything? Ah dear, what would I know? Neither Callum nor I make any reference to our conversation of the night before. This morning, we are strictly business. Once bellies have been filled and bladders discreetly lightened, a task considerably easier for my companions than myself, we are ready to seek the rendezvous point. No, you're wrong. Miss Valois, in, like, whatever fucking year this was, I don't remember. Sometime in the future, possibly 300 years, there will be a thing called Shiwi. Now, if you all go and look up what that is, you will all be disgusted, I imagine. Moving on. Oh, God, I'm not sure if you can tell how bad my cough is, so I do apologise for any sniffling and, like, coughing and swallowing and whatnot. It's quite bad. But, you know, dedicated to the channel, episode every day and whatnot. Callum leads us up to a country road, his particular destination marked by a crudely carved milestone half buried in the verge. This is the place. Get yourselves out of sight. We could have hours yet to wait. Find a spot where you can be hidden and silent for as long as is necessary. So basically, don't roll on top of each other. Gotcha. His gaze falls on Oscar. If you can't do that, then get back to the river and stay where you won't make a mess of things. I can do it. You had better be right. Remember, the most important thing is that Cass is safe. Don't take any action that could endanger that. But once the way is clear, don't let those bastards get away. Is it because Princess Cassidy was the only one who treated Princess Callum like a normal human being? Oh, we'll never know. We understand. Oscar and I secrete ourselves in the bushes. Hiding among a thick cover is simple enough. Making a nest for yourself where the smallest movement will not rustle loudly and give you away is more complicated. Even the most patient soul must shift position occasionally. It's not good for the body to do otherwise. Callum's role in this is easier. Can I say, making back to that, I spent so much time on a computer. I'd be buggered if that was true. Callum's role in this is easier. He takes up a visible position along the road, pulls out a knife and a bit of wood and begins whittling at it. For myself, there is nothing to do but wait and think. Callum. The more time I spend with him, the less like a prince he seems. When we first met, he was angry about being the leftover son. The one ignored by his parents after they had expended their matchmaking energies on his older brothers. They've apparently made no effort to show him off to potential brides. He has no advisors to school him in graces or dress him to better effect. Whoa! He looks like Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, apart from he has different coloured hair. I mean, that's dressing pretty well. But would he even want a royal bride? He is clever and strong, but he is no leader of men. He can barely manage to interact with myself and Oscar. I can't see himself spending his days in court, not even with the wisdom to give him advice. Marrying into lesser noble house would still leave him with the same problem, if on a smaller scale. The power of nobility rests in their skills at social interaction. Strange as it may sound, I think Callum would be a happier man if he had born into a less prominent family, where his wit and his hands would have been enough to earn his future. His hands, you say? No. What will become of him? Will he spend his life... What is this, a what happens next? What will become of him? Will he spend his life as a bachelor, tucked away in the back halls of the palace, meddling with his devices forgotten? Or will he be bestowed like gift upon some old widow seeking royal favor? Next time on Royal Trap. But no, it's not that. Here's my responsibility. Once Cassidy is safe, my forced allegiance expires, and yet I cannot help feeling some sympathy for the man. We both face an uncertain future. Oh, after a long and uncomfortable wait, I hear the sounds of footsteps on the road. Callum hears it too, but he holds in his position and waits for the newcomer to approach. Waits, that is, for the newcomer to come close enough that Oscar and I may see without giving ourselves away. Who is it? Almost close enough for a single person in palace uniform? Dolores! You absolute bitch! There's no queen here at all, is there? Be honest. The page stops at a small distance from Callum, close enough to talk, far enough that I can't make a grab for her. She holds her arms insolently and waits. Do you have a message for me? Oui, I maybe do. Here's the message. Give me the gold. Dolores is working with kidnappers? How can that be? She helped me! Didn't she? Or maybe she didn't. Maybe it was some sort of elaborate ruse. The deal was trade. Gold for the princess. No princess, no gold. Do you think I'm stupid, Lord Fancy Boy? Once you've gotten your princess back, what guarantee have I got you won't go after me? Since that was exactly the plan, she has a point. But she must not know this. You want her back, you play by my rules. And if I gave you the gold, what guarantee do I have that Cassidy is unharmed, and that you even have her? I'll take you to her. You throw me the gold, I'll guide you to where I left her, one step at a time. And keep your distance. You try and rough me up, I'll lead you in circles till she starves. And you'd probably die as well, so the gold would be pointless. Half now, half when I see the princess. Don't worry, Fancy Boy, I don't want her on my hands. Had enough of looking after lords and ladies, I have. Why is she speaking like a cockney? Half now, no more. Fine, throw it over. A sack of coins lands with a heavy clattering at her feet. She opens it to check the contents, then apparently satisfied, smiles. Go on with you then. That way. Keep moving and I'll tell you when to turn. Together they move into the woods. This is not good. The only thing to do now is to try and follow without making too much noise, and hope we can still be ready to spring on Dolores once she's delivered on her promise. I look around for Oscar to be sure he understands what must be done, and find him making wild-eyed faces at me. There's no time and we can't risk being overheard. We must rely on gesture. He points at his foot, waves his hand in a negative fashion, shrugs and indicates that I should go on without him? What's Oscar got up his sleeves? Right, I'm confused. I'm not sure what the problem is. Maybe he's caught somehow. Or maybe he neglected to shift his position earlier and now his feet are too numb to stand and move quietly. It's none of that. It's going to be a snake, isn't it? Whatever the cause, he is out of my commission. I will have to tell Dolores on my own. I creep through the brush. He's going to get caught and I'm going to be blamed for this. I creep through the bush, trying to keep both pale heads in sight while avoiding dry twigs and other giveaways. Callum is in the lead, moving slowly at Dolores' direction and pausing frequently to look back at her. She in turn always waits for him to move before she'll take a step to follow him, never allowing that distance between them too close. Oh no, too close. My apologies. Her caution means that, if not for my presence, she would have a fair chance at escape if she chose to run for it. It would depend on how quickly Callum would react. Would that be enough for her? She seems enough of a cunning sort, and I don't say that solely because she misled me earlier. Oh no. Fleeing... bitter is what that is. Fleeing from Callum would be even easier if he were temporarily distracted or injured. Could he be leading him into a trap? Before I can spin worse imaginings, she stops. May as well come out, Miss Nosy. What? I know you're out there, Wales girl. I saw you with himself last night, playing Broken Bird. Tricky. Now, I can wait here all day, but your delicate lady's all alone and helpless like. So get over here now! Oh, damn. I hesitate, trying to decide whether she's certain of my presence or merely suspecting it. She probably knows. She knows everything about this place, I'd imagine. Come out, Valois. So much for that, then. I raise my hands and move noisily into view. Planning on turning on me, weren't you? A caution. You would have done the same. I maybe did. Who's to know? I don't think she could have managed to hide her own allies in the same thicket we were hiding in earlier. Or it's someone royal, and they're trying to frame us. Conspiracy theories keep leaping through my head. Oh dear. But now that she is calling the shots, she must indeed be leading us to them. Get over there, next to him. Since Callum apparently wants me to play along, I obey her instructions and walk past her to stand beside him. The traitorous servant then produces a silk scarf which she hurls in our direction. Tie yourselves together. Is this some sort of joke? You're the one playing jester's tricks, fancy boy. Should have come alone. She knew anyway. Whatever. I've always wondered why you weren't dismissed from service. You make a terrible page. Well, then, good that it's settled. Now, do as I say. Arm or leg, I don't care. Arm. Come on, arm. Yeah, I'm gonna say. Callum picks up the scarf and extends his left hand to me. I'm not quite sure what he has in mind, but I place my right hand in his. He winds the scarf over and around through a shared clasp, creating something that looks like a knot but isn't actually. We aren't tied, only tangled, and it will not take long to free ourselves again. Dolores can't tell quite what he's done unless she comes closer to examine it. Of course, and she seems disinclined to take such a step. Despite his brief show of resistance, Callum seems quite calm about the setbacks in the rogue page has put in our path. Of course, he still thinks we have Oscar on our reserve, and I cannot tell him that my prince has been left behind. We resume our course through the woods, step by step. For good or for ill, Dolores' voice is our guide. And then at last we see it, a splash of pink across a forest floor. Cass! Instinctively he starts to move towards his fallen sister, and his motion tugs our joined hands. That moment of distraction is what Dolores has apparently been waiting for. Abandoning us and waiting, and the remaining half of her ransom gold, she turns to flee. Go! We rush after... We're not going anywhere, you're just zooming in and out of the picture again. Oh dear. We rush after her as best as we can. It is not so easy as one might think to run in a forest, particularly while entangled with another. We could, of course, pause for a moment and remove the silk wrapping, but that would require that we pause. Instead, Callum crushes my fingers in his grip, and we attempt a synchronized pursuit. She is one and we are two, and in this terrain, that gives her an advantage. She is going to get away. We're losing. And then, quite unexpectedly, I hear a shout. It's Oscar! Somehow or other, he must have gotten himself loose from his predicament and tried to catch up with us, only to find himself directly in Dolores' escape path. He's not bigger and faster than she is, but he is there, and she can't swerve away in time. In one desperate leap, he tackles her to the ground. But that doesn't bring an end to it. Wrestling is not a sport that ever held Oscar's interest, and with an angry woman in his grasp, a woman who has no qualms about using her knees and teeth, he is completely ineffectual. A few painful for him moments. For him. Oh dear. Moments later, she has struggled free, but by that point it is too late. Callum has a hand in her hair and an arm around her neck. This is the only payment you'll receive. Her eyes bulge as the pressure around her neck increases. Stop! Don't kill her! He's killing her. I am probably going to be the voice of reason. I told you I wouldn't murder for you. We've caught her. That's enough. A traitor deserves death. At least his faces are still the same as they are to the bottom left. So tie her up and bring her back to stand trial. Looks like you haven't told them. Her eyes roll back into her head and she sags in Callum's grip. No! She's only unconscious. He takes a deep breath and lets it out. Well, so be it. Tie her up if that's what you want. We have to get back to Cass. Between us, Oscar and I handled Dolores' limp body, binding her with the discarded silk scarf. She is not a very substantial woman, more wiry than bulky, and is easy enough for the two of us to carry. So, Dolores was the mastermind all along. No, she wasn't. That's why she said she hasn't told them. Come on. I'm not that stupid, damn you. Could she really have overpowered Oscar and spirited off Cassidy all by herself? Us and struggling here in the forest. I can imagine she'd get better of him eventually in a brawl, but disabling her quickly to cry out? And then dragging the princess away, keeping her hidden? Leading me on a merry dance, spying on Callum, setting up a ransom exchange. That's a lot to manage for a rough-spoken girl who's never progressed past the rank of page. There must be more of her story than I'm seeing. Who sponsored her royal service? Why hasn't she either advanced or dismissed? She is someone's agent, I'm certain, but whose, and what is their part in this? And yet, Callum insisted that she was working alone, motivated by gold, not by politics, and the last thing Dolores said was that Callum hadn't told us the whole story. Could she be his agent and turned on him? But that doesn't make any sense. Last night, Callum said he'd never had a trusted assistant like me. He could be lying. I may have some questions for that woman when she wakes up, but in the meantime, we have a princess to rescue. We return to where we first spotted that telltale glimpse of pink fabric in the forest. There Cassidy lies, quiet and unmoving at the base of a tree. Not a fairy tale girl in a glass coffin. This princess's hair and clothes have been snagged by leaf and twig. Her shoes are gone, her stockings horribly stained, and she's tied and blindfolded with more of those silk scarves. Is she alright? Do you have any heart-shorn spirits? What the fuck is that? There is a faint moaning noise, and Cassidy's head shifts. She's awake! Get her untied and sitting up carefully. Callum hangs back while Oscar and I help Cassidy to her feet and remove the blindfold. What? Ah! It's alright, you're safe now. We've captured the woman who kidnapped you. Safe, but... As she ducks behind Oscar and raises a trembling hand. He's the one that kidnapped me! She's pointing at Callum? Yeah, well... I'm not gonna say I'm not surprised. But, you know, I'm not. You stole the Princess Cassidy? No, not exactly. That is not Princess Cassidy. What are you saying? I would like to introduce you to my brother, Prince Caspian. What? Oscar takes a step backwards, sheltering Cassidy. Or is it Caspian behind him? You are mad! It was you who attacked us in the garden! Is Callum our enemy, or is he telling the truth? Protect Cassidy. Let Callum explain. Again, see? Protecting Cassidy is a Callum idea. A Callum idea? No, it's an Oscar idea. We've been very uninclined towards those. You know what, fuck it, I'm going to do it again. Know that I'm very, very partial to letting Callum explain. But I'll let you guys decide. My name's been Tenarium, and I'll see you next episode. I hope my coughing and sneezing and whatnot didn't murder you. Goodbye.